Hey, thanks for watching Summit Secrets. In today's video, we are going to highlight both a location and an event. And that event was the June 5th, 1976 Teton Dam failure. When you look at that, in terms of both dam height and the volume of water that was released, it is the worst in U.S. history. In fact, the dam was 305 feet from the base to the crest. And just to give you an idea of how big that is, the Statue of Liberty is 305 feet tall when you include the pedestal. So a very large dam. More than 300 square miles were inundated with water. 3,000 or more homes were destroyed, were damaged. Tens of thousands of livestock were lost, and there were also the loss of human lives, which was the most tragic part about it. Several forensic studies have been conducted to determine the cause of the failure, whether that's from how fast they started to fill the reservoir to the construction materials. We're not going to focus so much on that in this video. We will discuss just a little bit about why the dam was built and why it broke. But we're going to look at some of the damages that were caused and interview a few locals and hear their experience about it and show you guys what the dam looks like today. But just to give you a quick overview, why the dam was built, it was started construction in February of 72, where they wanted to provide irrigation as well as hydroelectric power, and the dam would also provide an added flood control for the area. And there would be fish and wildlife enhancement as well as recreation that the reservoir would provide. So it was all on the upside. There was really no downside to the dam being built. They started filling the dam in 75, and it rose quickly. They kept doubling the amount of water that they were putting in there, and it held about 252,000 acre-feet of water. When it broke, it emptied in 6 hours. It was quite extensive. So on June 3rd, they noticed seeps. June 5th, they started to notice leakage. They tried to bring in dozers to get it fixed. That was ineffective. By 10:43 a.m., the sheriffs were advising people downstream to evacuate, and it was at 11:57 that the dam actually completely broke. And just to give you an idea how big it was, not only was it 305 feet tall, but it covered this canyon, which is 1,200 feet wide. So this wall of water was said to be over 100 feet wide when it started out. And of course, as the water went downstream, it started to widen and it was less deep. The first casualties were actually, there were two men that were fishing not too far below the dam, and they noticed the wall of water coming to them. The water was rising. They started to see the wall of water. Both of them were completely swept away. One man did survive, while the other one, unfortunately, was not able to make it. But after exiting the canyon, where the water goes down this canyon, it kind of spread out where there's this consistent 15 to 20 foot wall of water and debris. And you'll hear from these accounts of some of these Wilford residents telling us a little bit about their experience. By the time this water reached Rexburg, there was 6 to 8 feet of damage. They'll also, in these videos, tell you a little bit about how much warning they had. Some not at all, some very little. They later interviewed Rexburg and Sugar City residents who said that only 7% were warned by police, 14% were warned by TV or neighborhood runners, and the remaining 79%, the most people, received their warning by either radio or telephone from friends and family. So we'll get into it. We'll look at some of these interviews, and we'll also look at pictures of what the dam looks like today. You were right here, and this is Wilford.
Yes.
Okay, and then as I understand it, at the time there was just a little over 150 homes in Wilford, and almost all of them were destroyed. About 133 of those 150 were completely destroyed. Was there a house here, one of them was here?
There was one mud seal still molded to my foundation. That was the only piece of wood that was left of my house.
So this entire house was washed away?
Yes.
Wow. And what kind of warning did you get when that happened?
Oh, we had probably about an hour. I was up in the field. My brother and I had washed out a head gate, and I was backfilling. We poured concrete and had it poured back, but I was backfilling it, listening to the radio.
What would have happened had you not been listening to the radio?
Well, one of the Potter twins, Shane and Lane, and I'm not sure which one, came up on a motorbike and said the dam's broke. He had come here to the house and warned my wife, and she said go warn Max.
Wow.
So I would have had another warning. As I drove out of the field, my sister-in-law, I could see her in there vacuuming, and so I stopped and warned her. And then there was a gentleman cultivating our potatoes, and I stopped and warned him. Finally, the sheriff came out, drove down the road there, and said, the water's close, look east. And had I been a little smarter, their aeroplanes were flying over the frontal of the water, trying to warn us where the water was, but we weren't paying that much attention. And so,
do you remember seeing the wall of water?
Yes.
What was that like?
I could see I thought maybe dust or maybe another wall out in front, maybe 6 or 7 feet high. And then the water behind it was just rolling. It was probably 25 feet high, and I could see rocks and trees and power lines and boards.
We were there at the house looking, of course, the canyon, end of the canyon's half-mile east of here. Well, I say the end of the canyon, and we could see this cloud of dust coming. I don't know what in the world is that. Looked like maybe, of course, all the roads were dirt roads then, or gravel, and looked like maybe somebody driving a herd of sheep or something down the road. Just a big cloud of dust, and that water come down, and there's a ledge here where, and it hit that and shot in the air, and there was a house that was right there, and it was gone, just that.
And Cubel come down off of the dry farm on his motorbike, and his eyes were about big as silver dollars. And he says, my gosh, the dam's broke, get the hell out of here. And we thought, oh, we got time. Well, anyway, we didn't have time, because then it started coming out of the mouth over here. We could see debris coming. So we headed up on the dry farm, because when we turned around and looked to the north, the water had broke the corner up there and had started coming. There was about 36 people altogether that was there. And there was a plane that was flying over top of us. And he flew a couple times around us, and then we didn't see him for a while. But here comes this old biplane back, and he lit on the grain field. And he flew us, all of us, off of that hill. But we watched the water, and as it come out here on the south, it surrounded Cubel's house, and then it just blew up. And then it come down to Bishop Williard's house and did the same thing and blew it up. It just kind of whoosh and crumbled. Anyway, we didn't know what happened to Grandpa and Grandma. And they saw a pickup. It was upside down, and you could only see about that much of the color of it. And that's where we found Grandpa and Grandma. And so they were able to pull it out, and they were still in it. We figured that, because the pickup was in reverse, so we figured when the water hit their house, they were either trying to back out of the garage, and Grandpa had a heart attack. Grandma drowned, but that's what we feel like it was there, and then it just rolled it. There was no warning for the people up here other than what they might have heard on KRXK radio.